Black politics expert. Dr. James Taylor will be in our classroom. Dr. Taylor will examine the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., this being the 54th anniversary of Dr. King's death. Dr. Taylor will discuss the ideology of Dr. King and Brother Malcolm and how they intersect. In addition, Dr. Taylor will also analyze the Senate confirmation of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. I understand those votings, one of the votings at least are taking place as we speak. But to get us started this week, financial expert J.B. Bryan. J.B., welcome back to WOL Radio.
It's so good to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And just always an exciting experience for me because the questions when people call in are always so good. So your show is full of intelligent financial people, and I really appreciate the opportunity. So y'all make sure you call today, because don't let me down. Continue to ask me any financial question about your financial goals, things that you're doing in your family, what's important to you. And, one of the things I want us to talk about is a new survey about what financial priorities are for today's people. It's amazing because it's not what you think it is.
Well, before we do that, I got a question for you, from last week. Texted me and asked me, how come you didn't tell me that JB's a biker chick? How many tattoos she got? They want to know if you got tats, JB. So you open it up because you said you got a bike, you're on the bike, so they say you're a biker chick. So
that's right.
That whole thing about being a biker chick now, they want to know how many tats you got. So,
no tattoos. Not a one. Isn't that something?
No tats.
Yeah, Booster girls don't wear tattoos. That must be a Harley thing. There's somebody out there riding a Booster that's like, nah, JB, I have tats everywhere. But yeah, I've never. It must be just a thing I never thought about. Isn't that something? But there's a lot of years ahead, so I might get they have to tell me if I get a tattoo, what do they think I should get? I'd be interested to see, especially Miss Davis. I see you, Miss Davis, out there on social media. She's already responded from Stone Mountain, Georgia. What tattoo do you think I should get, Miss Davis?
Oh, wow. And by the way, tell folks how they can watch you while we conduct this interview.
Definitely go to afroeconomics.com and click right there. The video is up live, or go to Facebook, Afroeconomics, or go to YouTube, Afroeconomics. And you'll see Afroeconomics with J.B. Bryan live with Carl Nelson right now.
All right. One of the first questions that they told me to ask you, are we heading for a recession?
Well, the Federal Reserve actually is taking steps to slow down the economy, and I guess they're not going to say that they want to create a recession, but they definitely are trying to slow down the economic speed and in hopes of bringing down inflation. But the most challenging thing about it, and there's been a lot of research, that I saw a professor out of Howard in Forbes magazine that made an interesting point about the Federal Reserve's push to increase interest rates is going to have a negative impact on our community, because slowing down the economy in order to create this deflation is going to make it harder for businesses to hire employees. And since we typically have twice the unemployment right now, we've recovered some from, we have not fully recovered as a community from the COVID pandemic. And before the pandemic, the Black community was headed, to what would be considered full employment. And now we still have this challenge by increasing interest rates, it makes it harder for businesses to finance their growth. So they're not going to hire as many people. So, Carl, this is definitely something that our community should be aware of and become more conscious about, the importance of creating your own career opportunities. And what could you do if your current job, how to retool yourself, how to make sure that you're skilled properly. I was just thinking myself as a business owner, since I started my business in 1995, computers have cut my need for people. so much that what I used to have 6 people to do, now really I just need 2 people and a computer. The computers are have really put out of work, and the artificial intelligence and the algorithms and the emails have put a lot of people out of work, and not just part-time people but full-time people. So we have to really make sure that our skills are in the areas where businesses that are highly technical, like financial services, really can use your help.
Well, let's talk about inflation,
Mhm.
JB, because they say they're going to increase the rates again. Uh, what should we do as consumers? Do we buy our
Mhm.
products if we're going to buy a car, if we're going to refi or buy a house? Should we do it right now to get ahead of the game, or should we wait until it's over?
If you need to refinance, you need to be very careful on if you're going to do it right now. There has been over the last year or year and a half a lot of unnecessary refinancing. That's the sad part. Try to encourage the members of Afro Economics to let me see the paperwork before they sign it. And I have repeatedly seen people using their equity to buy down the interest rate so that they look like it's a good deal, but they're using the equity in their home. So they say you don't have to come to the table with any money, but you're coming to the table with your equity. So if the interest rate should have been 3.5, but you told them I have to get 2%, we're not catching the connection between they can give you any rate that you want as long as you're willing to use your equity or come to the table and buy the interest rate reduction, and they can still do very well and make a lot of money off your equity in your home. So if you are refinancing right now, make sure that you're doing it because it is empowering you or helping your financial situation in some way. That you're reducing your mortgage by $50, but it's costing you $5,000, and a new loan amount is going up by $5,000, costing you $5,000, and that's a little bit. A lot of people are paying like $20,000, $30,000 to refinance, and their payment is only going down a couple $100. So do you realize how many years you'll have to pay this new payment in order for that refinancing expense to be ahead of the game? So typically if you refinance, you want your expenses to be taken care of by the payment reduction within 2 years or less. So that means if your payment went down to $200, then you should be only spending about $2,000, no more than $4,000 on the deal. But if you're going down 200 and your expenses on the deal are $10,000, you know how many years it's taking for you to make up just for that refi. And then the person could argue, but I'm refinancing because I want to pay off these credit cards. Do you know how many times people have refinanced their home to pay off something that has no collateral connected to it? A credit card is not collateralized. So you're taking something that and making it collateralized. So you literally, if you lose your home, you are losing it because you're taking something that they never could have really collected on and making it into something they could have collected on. And we all want to pay our bills, but it's like you have to be careful with using your home equity to on paying off credit card bills that, if you look at the research, typically are brought back up within a couple years. People pay off their credit cards, Carl, and then they go back and they do it again.
All right. So what you mentioned earlier, sort of a cutoff
Mhm.
figure to figure out that if you're going to do the refi, that it would make financial sense. What is that?
The 2-year period where if it costs you $5,000 to refinance and your house payment is going down $500 a month, that could be considered a good deal, just as a rule of thumb, because that over 10 months of a reduction of $500, you will have paid off. You would have broken even with that expense. So it would only take you 10 months to break even on why you refinance. But if you refinance, it went down $500 a month, but your expense was $20,000. Look at how many years it's going to take you for that 500 reduction to actually benefit you. But
Well, the person will look at it and say that they've got a lower monthly note.
That's right. And meanwhile, they have 20,000 of their home equity that's just gone. So their net worth, their wealth as a person, their balance sheet has been destroyed by 20,000 in exchange for just $500 reduction in monthly payment. So,
all right, so you're saying after 2 years, if it makes sense to do it after 2 years, if you can break even?
That's right. That's right. Why are you doing it? And that with every financial decision, really, we should think, why are we doing this? How am I going to benefit from
there,
it?
JB. I'll let you expand on that. We got to take a short break. 800-450-7876. You got questions about finance? It's a lady you need to talk to, and we'll take your calls after the short break on FM 95.9 and AM 1450 WOL, where information is power.
How y'all doing? Thank you so much for your comments. I appreciate you. Thank you, Mr. Robinson. West East. Is that called that? That's right. Yes. How you doing, Mr. Johnson? Good afternoon. Right back at you. Snoopy D.
Yeah, I spelled Weeda name.
Yeah, I got it. I know who she is.
I just spelled it wrong.
Hey, beautiful Rosita.
Yeah, I know who she is.
Okay.
I got it.
Good afternoon.
Already
Michael.
very heavy congestion. You'll be sluggish through Pentagon City as you're making your way northbound from Washington.
Thank you all.
And over the 14th Street Bridge. Sluggish congestion continues for you on the Southeast Southwest Freeway, eastbound, all the way over through the Navy Yard
got the right
and
link.
over the 11th Street Bridge at the DC 295, where you'll also be crawling
was
northbound
something
passing
else.
Pennsylvania Avenue. Typical pace delays in both directions, north and south, passing East Capitol Street and Banning Road. Southbound 395
Has
also,
to be
you'll
worth
be
it.
tapping on the brakes with heavy
That's right.
congestion, passing the Pentagon, passing Washington
That's
Boulevard,
right.
approaching Glebe Road. TW Parkway also jammed
Oh,
southbound in Arlington from Memorial
so sweet.
Avenue, approaching
I love
14th
you
Street
back.
Bridge. I'm Taryn Galbraith, News Talk 1450
Thank
AM,
you.
WOL, where information is power.
Everyone knows even good people fall on hard times. Your credit cards get maxed out, and you get behind on your taxes. Unfortunately, the IRS is not as understanding, and they won't stop until they collect. They have the power to take your paychecks, freeze your bank accounts, even your
Make sure
home
you
could
let
be up
me
for
know if you
grabs.
have any
It's simply not
questions.
worth the risk to take on the IRS by
Information.
yourself. You
That's
need to call the experts at Optima Tax Relief. When you call, be sure to ask about the Fresh Start Initiative. It's a special IRS tax
Thank
debt
you, Mr.
assistance
Williams.
program that could save
Right
you
back at
thousands
you.
if you qualify.
Thank you.
Optima's team of
That's
tax
so
professionals
positive.
will get to work immediately fighting to
Ooh.
protect you from the IRS and helping
Positive
to ensure you
words.
get the best possible outcome. The Better Business Bureau has
Food
awarded
for
them an
the
A+
soul.
rating, and you will too.
That's
So
soul
put the hard
food.
times behind you and
Positive
call
words.
Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-811-7033. 800-811-7033. 800-811-7033.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Let me look
Let's
this
be
up.
real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around,
Stay with me.
then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer Wet Jet. With Swiffer Wet Jet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer Wet Jet. The faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
When I grow up, I want to be a doctor, because that's a really important job. I would hope kids get better and make everything super fun. I'd have a cool waiting room with games, toys, and a huge TV.
If your child is sick over and over again, it could be PI, a serious defect of the immune system.
That's right.
Early testing gives children
That's
a
right.
chance to dream.
And
But
don't
Mr.
get every kid
Johnson,
a cherry
are you a
lollipop.
biker?
That's the best flavor.
Jeffrey Modell Foundation, helping children reach for their dreams. Visit info4pi.org.
Let's see if Weeda has tattoos. She's a biker chick.
Thanks for staying with us, folks. I guess there's J.B. Bryant. We're talking about finances here. We're talking about the recession, inflation, and also refi, because, or getting just right, not just mortgages, but all kinds of loans that you may have, because the interest rates are going to go up, as I say, this year. JB was giving us the formula where you should refi. But JB, what about if you're not pulling any money about? Before you do that, just tell folks how they can watch you again, because I've got to do this.
That's
We
so
got new
true.
listeners come on here.
Go
Wait a
to
minute. So how can they see you?
That's right. Thank you. Go to afroeconomics.com. And at the top of the website, just click right there for Carl Nelson Live and JB Bryan. I'll be right there. It's, go to afroeconomics.com or go to Afroeconomics in Facebook or go to Afroeconomics and YouTube on the YouTube, and please subscribe. But definitely we're there live right now. But I thought about something, Carl, that, and it would have been great if the person has already done this, but there are actually some people that have an adjustable interest rate on their mortgage. And if they have an adjustable interest rate right now, it could be good for them to consider refinancing into a fixed rate hopefully they've already done so. But if you still have an adjustable interest rate, and there's really not a time on a first mortgage or main house mortgage where I would say that it's a good idea for a person to do an adjustable rate mortgage, but people do it because generally it allows them to buy a house that they often can't afford at the normal interest rates. So they'll have a very low initial interest rate. And it might say for the first 3 years, it's this. The next 3 years, it'll be this. And then after that, it's going to go, and it might even say market interest rate. So if you know that you're about to adjust or go up, or if you have this leveling in your mortgage, consider refinancing into a fixed rate mortgage as soon as possible. That's something for you to talk to your financial advisor about. If don't have one, consider joining Afroeconomics so that we can talk through, is this time for you to refinance? And the interesting thing is that often people call a mortgage company and they go, I'm trying to decide if I should refinance. Now, what exactly do you think they're going to say? You cannot, it's like calling me and saying, you have $1 million to invest. What do you think I should do? I would say, let's invest it, correct? So that you have to talk to someone that is not involved in that situation so closely, especially if you don't really know the person. So talk to your financial advisor who, as a registered investment advisory firm, I am regulated to do what's in your best interest and advise what's in your best interest once you have a financial planning agreement with me as a licensed financial professional regulated by our government. So when I'm giving you advice like this, is something that we actually, when I say you should not, it's backed by these criteria, not, oh yeah, and I'm gonna make some money on this deal. You know what I'm saying? That's not so definitely we should talk to a financial advisor about such a big financial decision. But I would say that the majority of people don't really have a financial advisor that they can talk to about such a huge financial decision. When you think about it, Carl, like how many people go, I talked to my registered investment advisor before I actually signed for my mortgage. This is the way we as a community approach it. Can you approve me? Am I approved? Am I
And you
good
know what? More
enough?
people got mechanics than they have financial advisors because they think that you have to have a ton of money. Can you dispel that notion for us, JB?
Exactly. What is Afroeconomics membership is like $30. I think sometimes $30 a month, a month for individual membership to have a registered investment advisor on call for you about your specific needs. And I can't tell you that forever I'll be able to do that, but that's what it's structured for our community to get that unadulterated financial advice that has to be in your best interest. It is amazing, how many people this. I got a call this morning. This lady said, I'm going to be taking my money from my IRA and I want to roll it over I want to take it over to this other place because they told me now, that this is going to be better for me. Now, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, I've known this person for 10 years and I know that I hope that she's listening, that this is a very bad thing for her to do. She's going from being protected by regulators into a whole nother capacity that could take every dime of her savings. But what can I do when a person is committed to being broke? Absolutely nothing I can do about it. I can't stop you. I said, you know what? I really hope that it works out well for you. I really hope that it does. Just make sure you check and make sure that it's not going to be a taxable event for you. And see, I was really going too far, but it's like when you're the type of person that really cares about people, you really can't turn off the off button. You either care about people or you don't, and I really care about her, but I can't force people to want to have food when they get old. But that's the goal. I want you to eat.
We got some folks who want to talk to you, JB, and
yes.
Some tweet questions as well. But let me just remind the folks to join us for a power talk session on how to identify harassment in the workplace with attorney Pam Keith. Now, this 1-hour conversation will help you identify and respond to harassment in the workplace. It's going to take place on Tuesday. That's tomorrow, April 5th. It's starting at 8 p.m. You can log on to our website at WOLDCnews.com or check out our Facebook page or our YouTube page at Radio 1 DC. Now, again, that's tomorrow, 8 o'clock. With attorney Pam Keith, we're going to talk about a 1-hour conversation, how to help you identify and respond to harassment, how you identify what is harassment. Because sometimes it's, people just teasing and playing around. You got to know the difference. So join us tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Oh, we're going to be on tonight at 8 o'clock as well. We'll tell you more about that later. But anyway, let's take a call for JB. 800-450-7876. Ms. Weeder's joined us from Stone Mountain in Georgia. Ms. Weeder, you're on with JB.
Yes, good afternoon to the both of you, and thanks so much for taking my call, Carl. JB, my question for you today is in regards to annuities.
Okay.
I know that there are variable annuities, convertible annuities, lifetime annuities, fixed annuities. Can you shed light on how they differ, so greatly? I read a little bit of information in regards to them. That's question number one. If you could just shed some light on annuities and how, as an annuitant, let's say you set up once you die, does the annuity die, or could you perhaps set up a beneficiary in regards to the annuity, or does it depend on the annuity? That's question number one. Question number
two. That's a good question. And JB, when you get ready to answer that, can you tell us how to set up an annuity? How does it work?
Okay.
She's giving us the variables, but you got to figure out how it works and what it is. So some people don't know what it is.
That's
Go ahead,
right.
Rita, your second question.
That's right.
And second question is, in the annuity, can the annuity be put into a brokerage account? That's my second question. So you can shed light on those two things. And I will take the answer off air. And as far as the tattoos, and for my Harley girl, it could be anything. It doesn't really matter. We'll talk about it later. Thank you.
There you go. Well, that's a good point. And the thing to know about annuities is there are so many different companies that offer annuities. And then there's the word annuity, which means that it is an investment that is insured. It is backed by an insurance company. And it was based on you using an annuitization table that agreed to pay you a certain amount of money for the rest of your life. And they calculated based on your age and the amount of money and the time period that you want it to pay you out. So that was the original annuity. It was really known mostly for school systems, and teachers would save money while they're working, and then it would become an annuity that is annuitized. And when you annuitize your annuity, so while they were working, they would put the money into the insurance product. And the insurance product says, no matter what, your family will get at least what you put in. So it's guaranteed for that in most cases, those original annuities. And then you could annuitize at the end, and they would tell you for the rest of your life, you will get this amount. And then they became more and more complicated. And that was a fixed and guaranteed annuity. Then came along the variable annuity, which did not offer you the guarantees of fixed, but it still offered to your beneficiary that they would get at least your principal amount minus any withdrawals that you made, but the market wouldn't hurt your death benefit. Then you could buy living benefits to put onto that product. So the variable annuity basically was a mutual fund that became tax deferred because it was put into an insurance product. So I remember when I first became a financial advisor, when they train you to say explain every product within 15 with just 15 words. So I went way past 15 words, right? But a variable annuity would be described as a mutual fund wrapped in an insurance product that gives you these guarantees of the annuity.
Yes. We're going to take a quick break, and I'll let you finish your thought on the other side. Folks, you want to join us, reach out to us. 800-450-7876 will get you in. Your calls will be next on FM 95.9 and AM 1450 WOL, where information is power.
Thank you. Clear TV.
Tonight on TV One, what happens when love
Let's drink our water.
Perfect man. Turns fatal. Something was wrong.
Kenneth Jones, could you just say hello to me? You say good afternoon to all. K. Jones. What if you said it to me, and then I said back to you, good afternoon to all. If you said good afternoon, JB, and I said good afternoon to all, you would want me. Well, I guess that's what you said. So you really, I am included in all. So I give you that. But it would be nice to say, hey, JB and everybody. I'm glad Mr. Johnson is a biker without a bike. When you get to Florida, you can get you a bike and don't even have to wear a helmet. I don't think so. I don't think they have helmet law in Florida. Maybe they do. In South Carolina, they don't.
Working for the betterment of our community.
Can't
They're
remember.
serving our area with pride and excellence.
I'm gonna find out
Call
just to confirm.
202-966-4444. 202-966-4444.
Then Ms. Davis said, can it be in a brokerage account? Okay. Answer that.
Hire vet. They say USA all the way.
Mr. Rogers says, look for the helpers. You can always find people who are helping. Thank you to all the first responders who put their lives in danger to help us.
I feel better now.
My brothers and sisters need them. We look out for the helpers
better.
because dads look out for us.
Greetings, JB. And greetings to all. That sounds very Santa Clausy.
First responders by texting
Very good.
BRAVE to 24365.
That was great.
Thanks for rolling with us, folks. Our guest is a financial expert. Her name is J.B. Bryan. She's a financial advisor. Questions about your finances, reach out to us at 800-450-7876. Before we let you tell us about annuities. So, J.B., I'm going to let you finish your thought.
And then Ms. Davis had asked about can they be in a brokerage account? You can put the value into the brokerage account because of technology. Like there's an ability to put a lot of assets that aren't actually held, but they can be linked. It's kind of like a hyperlink to other investments. But the actual annuity is kept with the insurance company. So my professional opinion is that the client should keep their connection with the annuity company. And in our brokerage account, I like the things in our brokerage account. Like I had one client that was with another firm, and when she was trying to transfer her assets over to me, she went through a lot because the actual firm had put itself as the owner of her annuity and had her kind of as the co-owner. So I think there must be some sort of benefit to the companies, these large companies, to keep the annuity as if it's one of their as part of their assets. And it probably increases their payout, possibly. But I feel that from a customer perspective, it's in your best interest to keep your connection directly with where the asset really is. Because if you need anything, we can't sell it in the brokerage account. You have to go directly to the annuity in the insurance company that owns the annuity in order to take care of transactions. So that's very important that right now, if you have an annuity, get an understanding of what type of annuity you have. Do you have a variable, or do you have a fixed, or do you have you annuitized, or have you not annuitized? How much would you get if you annuitized, and is that necessary? And look at your options and what are your surrender charges, and so ask as many questions as you can. And if you don't have a financial advisor to help you with that, consider joining Afro Economics, because that's what we do. I set up an electronic file cabinet for you, and I look at everything that you have.
Rita, you have a follow-up question?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know you were still there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
And JB, can you set up how'd you go about setting up? You mentioned teachers, but for the average person,
Oh, just a good point.
Do they just put some money somewhere, or how
Good
does
point.
that work?
Good point. Like if you go to your financial advisor and the person said they were very conservative and they wanted to, I would show them some annuity options if they really were looking for something that would guarantee a certain amount of money. Or if they were like, I want to create my own income guarantee for the rest of my life, then I could show them several different annuity companies to look at. And then the money would actually go there, but it would just say, JB Bryan is your financial advisor. And in order to do annuities, that is my insurance license, because annuities are an insurance product. And I just happen to have an investment advisor license and my insurance license.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
JB, you want to talk about jobs. The unemployment report came out, and it seems like it was pretty good as far as you look on the level of, and they're still looking for people to work. What happened to all these jobs? Because earlier we talked about this, about the government giving money, and they're saying that people didn't want to work because they got these handouts. Obviously, they spent that money by now, and there's still a whole bunch of jobs opening. What's going on here?
And someone was telling me today the same thing, that they hire a lot of, this was a lady at the state of Virginia, and she said, we're hiring a lot of young people, but they're not staying. They're quitting. And I don't understand, Carl. I just think that it's probably related to having so much time of not being in a disciplined work environment, of not having to work and getting the income. And when they get in there and they realize that this is what I have to do, and they're not really enjoying it, or they don't like working outside of the home. So even though we have some people getting into jobs, they're still they're not staying. And it would be interesting to see the retention numbers, but there are a lot of people that are still unhappy, and you have people just quitting one job, going to the other, quitting another job. So I think a lot of the numbers are just people reshuffling.
Yeah, I just got a tweet from a Francis who said he went to a fast food joint, and they had closed the doors. You had to go to the drive-in because they only had 2 people working because they couldn't find any people to work.
Yeah.
Is this sort of what's going on across the country?
Yeah, and I consistently, see it, and at the same time, the service level I think has declined. Now, like when you do go out, the service is not at the level as it was pre-COVID yet, and maybe it is because they're overworked, but you just don't have the same. I don't feel as comfortable dining out. Yeah, I know that something frustrating is going to happen. It's going to take forever to get the food, or the napkin is going to be dirty. Our water's going to look wrong. No, and you're paying way too much. So but yeah, there's definitely an employment crisis, and I do feel that people are going to have to get back to work, and I don't know if it's just going to hit them like a block, or a lot of young people are just moving home and don't have the same financial concerns. Like they might just be a dependent again, and they're getting comfortable
People
with
are
it.
staying home, JB? You think people are just staying home and they don't need to work?
Yeah, or they don't want a job. Like, I think that there were a lot of people who are thinking that starting their own business is an escape, and that everything it will be easy, but they have not been through the business cycles, and it is not easy owning a business through a recession. So I tell people, and I hope that there's someone out there listening that is saying, if I had my own business, I wouldn't have to work this hard. Don't believe the hype. You will work harder than you ever work in your life if you truly want to build a business that helps people. That it is going to require more discipline, more work, more commitment. There is no off button when you own a business.
Right. And JB, talking business, education is a business. And I see that even some law schools now, that you don't have to take the LSAT or grad school. You don't have to do that
right.
either to get in.
That's a good point.
You just apply and you don't have to even sit SATs on the undergrad level.
That's so true.
Is this all because of what we're seeing with the economy?
Yes. And that people are not seeing the value. Like, there was a survey done, and it said the majority of people with school loans are not satisfied with their results with school loans. And I don't know if I had told you about myself, like, over COVID, I started taking PhD classes, and it wasn't like I had to do anything special. I was just like, I want to get in your PhD program. And they said, yes, give me your money. so, so I started I started just giving them money and giving them money. And I was like, what am I doing? And it is the most, in my opinion, one of the biggest mistakes that I made as far as my time, health, and money, because it was a poor use of my time, and I had to take that hit, because I think for 2 years I was almost finished. I was at like a couple courses away from my dissertation, and I know they're gonna call me because I brought it up today. They're gonna, because you know how you send that out into the atmosphere, and they're gonna call me like, "You're coming back this quarter," And it was nice because I had this high GPA and all this stuff, but it was, and I think that people are catching on to it. I know that I did that. It is a waste of my time and money. It was not going to change my ability to create income, not one bit. Not one bit. Like, I mean, possibly, I don't know if somebody just gets off on calling me Dr. Brian, you know what I mean? But as far as my knowledge as an investment advisor and in managing your portfolio, it was not going to change that. Because no matter how many financial doctorates I have, that it does not focus on the individual investor. So I was going around the barn and paying for it, instead of focusing on my clients and what they need. So now, if I want to stay up all night, it's staying up working on taking care of my portfolios, making sure I'm getting the performance that I need, making sure that my members are responded to, making sure it's doing something that actually can make a difference in the world, in my
Because
opinion.
we're coming up on a break, and we got some folks who want to talk to you. So, but when you come back, tell us: are there any college courses that you think they'll be okay, that you take them and you get your money's worth, you get a bigger job, more money, or the prestige that you're looking for, that you would recommend? And then we got some people in Texas and Malibu want to speak with you. 800-450-7876. You too can join the conversation with JB Bryant. She's a financial advisor talking about money, folks. Reach out to us. We'll take your calls next on FM 95.9 and AM 1450. WOL, where information is power.
Today on Hey Culligan, soft water, cleaner
Thank
environment.
you.
What do you say, Greg? Hey Culligan, are you saying if I have a Culligan high efficiency water softener,
Which
I
has
also
some
help
music.
the environment? Sounds like you're saying it, Greg, and yes, you are, because with the Culligan high efficiency water softener, you'll use less detergent, soap, and
I
hard
should sing during the
and
commercial. You got the auto tune on, Paul?
you bet I
Turn
do,
on the
Greg.
auto
Soft
tune.
water and a cleaner environment is already underway. Let's help you out.
Y'all will
In-home
want
water
some
test with
auto
a
tune.
local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com. Celebrate Black History 365 days a year.
I sing anything. Wouldn't that be something, Paul? If I could just sing and you could switch it and make it sound like Whitney Houston.
Right.
Exactly. Didn't I almost have it all? And you play it back. That's technology. That's technology. It is sound. Engineering is life. Somebody put engineering is life. I know that's right. It's sounding great. Oh, thank you, Stubby D. Thank you. It's true. Engineering is one of those things. It's true. There are certain careers that require
The minute you
training.
lay your eyes on the all-new Toyota Tundra
There
Capstone,
are.
you'll know it was made to make a statement. With its
There are.
22-inch dark chrome alloy wheels made for turning heads.
I can't see it.
Carefully crafted two-tone leather
Westies.
trim
I can't
seats
see.
made for pulling up in
What's
style.
that?
12-speaker JBL premium
Oh, music.
audio made for turning up.
You sound little. It is.
Running boards made for
Look.
stepping out on the town.
Turn your music up.
All-new Tundra Capstone made to make a statement.
Mr. Hard in here.
JBL is a registered trademark.
Hard.
International industry.
Uh-oh. Hardman headquarters. I'm glad you said it was you.
Quickly, this check on the rapid is sponsored by the
H&H.
Colitis Foundation. The Colitis Foundation is
H&H Enterprises.
inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over
He's a
50 years.
no
Learn more about
hard
research
man
education
headquarters.
at colitisfoundation.org. You'll be crawling on
Inc.
the inner loop from the Dulles Tower Interchange over the Legion Bridge. Tropical pace congestion continues through Cabin John, as well as in the Chevy Chase as you're passing Connecticut Avenue and approaching Georgia
I'm
Avenue.
coming.
Now you'll find off and
Let
on
me
the
see what I'm
Lakeview and
saying.
County as you're continuing
I'm
on
a
the
rap.
inner loop approaching Suitland Parkway. Out of loop
I'm gonna go to my default rap. Y'all ready? You ready, babe? You gonna rap with me? You rap with me? Oh, you got two human beatbox. Come on, come on. Oh, it's a good show. Good, 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 good. So yeah, Salt and Pepper Hill.
Thanks for staying with us, folks. Our guest is financial advisor JB Bryant. You'd like to speak to JB, reach out to us at 800-450-7876. Before we reach back out to JB, just offer our condolences to legendary DC TV anchor Bruce Johnson, who passed away of a heart failure in Delaware on Sunday. Bruce Johnson was 71. Also, we invite you to join us right here, 8 o'clock tonight. We're going to have discuss a class action lawsuit with a group of black police officers, black women police officers from the Metropolitan Police Department. They're suing the MPD for racial discrimination and female discrimination. So join us then. Also, we want to shout out Happy Ramadan to our Muslim brothers and sisters out there. And at the top of the hour, we're going to be joined by black politics expert, Dr. James Taylor. Of course, it's the 54th anniversary of Dr. King's death. We're going to discuss the ideology of Dr. King and Malcolm and how they intersected. And later this week, you're going to hear from the University of Houston's African American History Department head, Dr. Gerald Horn. Also, gang interventionist and Malik Spellman will be here, and futuristic researcher, Brother Sadiqa Bakari. They're all going to be here right here on FM 95.9 and AM 1450 WOL. All right, before I take a call for you, JB, will you tell folks how they can watch you, and then I'll let you finish your thought, then we'll take some calls.
Definitely go to afroeconomics.com. One word, afroeconomics.com, or YouTube, afroeconomics.com. You're going to see me there, or Facebook, whatever is the easiest place. Just search for Afro Economics and then click in to watch us live.
All right. People want to talk to you. 800-450-7876. Line 3, C's calling from Malibu. C, you're on with JB.
Malibu.
Yeah.
Christian, I'm sorry.
Good afternoon. How you guys doing? I got a couple of questions.
Sure.
I'm listening to JB speak, and I can hear the fullness in her microphone. It sounds like it's an Omni microphone. Real quick, can you just tell me the brand and the model number of your microphone?
It says
U87.
U87. That's what the engineer said. U87. That's funny. You hear money. You know money.
I do. That's why I'm out here. So here's the deal.
Yes.
I'm calling because I'm watching this cat crash the economy. I believe it's intentional. They're trying to go through a communism with the prices of inflation. And when he first got in, the first month he got in, he started raising prices. Remember, he said it was transitory, it won't last about 6 months. Here we are, a year and 4 months, and it's catastrophic, and it's only going to go higher. At a certain point, either we're going to go into hyperinflation, or we're going to be standing in lines on rationing gasoline. So what is your projection when we can't go any higher because he's killing the economy? Because it's going to happen. I hit him in 2008, just like they're doing now, just sitting back waiting on him, like I'm waiting on him now with an extra $1 million in the bank ready to go. What's your projection?
All right. Thanks, Christian.
Very good point. And it is pretty frightening when we think about what is ahead for us. And unfortunately, I've been going through this stuff so much, like over the last 30 years, Christian, that I've developed a strategy of just perseverance, which is sad. Like, because it's so unexpected what they'll do that I've really just said, I've got to be strong. I've got to make sure my clients are strong. I have to make sure that my clients have emergency funds, and that I have to make sure that we just allocate the money from day one, prepared for the unexpected. Like if a client comes to me and they go, which happens a lot, like I have this lump sum of money, like you were talking about, I have this $1 million. I have to actually, even if we're in the best of times, I'm always thinking about the worst of times. So my clients that have been through the best of times, because I'm always thinking about, are they going to be ready for the worst of times? And when we're in the best of times, some people think that philosophy is bad because they'll feel like they're missing out. But if they stick with me, they realize that over time, they do better because I've prepared for the worst case, because there's so many things outside of our control, as you see, that in any political environment, like they were saying that some people, if their candidate wins, they automatically become more aggressive with their investments. And I believe that that's a bad strategy. That what I focus on is, regardless of who it is in the White House, what do my clients need to do to protect their interests over the long term? That's all I can do. I can't, adjust on, like, as you were mentioning, we just don't know what they're going to do, so I just look at historical long-term performance and what I can expect going forward based on all of these different administrations and what has happened, because some bad and some good has happened regardless of which political party is in there. And I try not to get emotionally connected to any of these parties. And too many people in our community do that. They get very connected to a political party or get emotionally, bad and hate another political party. So they miss out. Like, think about how many people, because they hated our past president, missed out on a huge run in the market. Millions, unfortunately.
Let me jump in here and try to answer his question, because, again,
Mhm.
Many Americans, they just see everything within the United States, the confines of the United States. Christian, I hate to tell you this, it ain't Biden. This is happening all across the world, in the UK, in France, in Germany, especially Germany, because a lot of this is caused by the war that's going on, and a lot also caused by the pandemic. So the same problems that we have, you talk about immigration, they've got a bunch of folks trying to cross the British Channel to get in the UK. I suggest that you read some of these other papers from across the country. You'll see that this is not Biden's fault, and I'm not a Biden fan, but you got to look at a broader picture. You're trying to make it a Republican and Democrat. It's not about that. This is a worldwide issue. This is a worldwide issue. So it's not, you can't say he did this and he did that. What he's doing too with opening up the oil reserves, that's what they're doing in the UK. A lot of these countries are doing the same thing. But the problem with the Democrats, they don't know how to tell people that, hey, we're doing the best we can, and this is what other countries are also doing. Because if they had the magic bullet, they would do it. So, it's not Republican or Democrat. I'm sorry to rain on your parade. But anyway. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, call.
You guys have a nice day. Thanks a lot.
All righty. And do that, man. Just go pick up some UK newspapers and French, and you can have them translated into English or German, the same thing. And you'll see every single problem that we have here, whether it be immigration, inflation, oil, gas, they got the same problems. But somehow they try to say that it's all Joe Biden or the Democrats or the Republicans' fault. No, this is universal, and JB will tell you, the economies are intertangled, they're intertwined. This whole geopolitical
JB said it. She said
and you know what?
Leadership in times we had bad leadership. She said it already, and it happens.
Right.
We're in a bad leadership.
Keep listening later this week. Dr. Horn will be here, and I'll let him expound on that, because that's all from what I've been reading, I've been seeing, and I know people trying to, it's a Biden war, it's a Biden inflation. No, it's not. It's worldwide. But I thank you for your call. 800-450-7876. Lawrence is next. He's in Texas. Yeah, I think he's in the Dallas Metroplex area. Is that correct, Lawrence?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
How you doing? All right.
I'm doing good, sister and brother Carl. I'm about 8 minutes from AT&T Stadium, Rangers. I'm in the entertainment district down here. In the Metroplex. Hey, Carl, you just touched on something, Carl, that the wife and me been seriously, and my whole family and some more people. We're talking about becoming expats, and we're trying to narrow it down. I don't want to do the Asia. We've already researched that. A lot of people going to the Philippines and Thailand. I ain't doing that. I'm looking at Morocco, Algiers, Tunisia, stuff like that. Hey, sister, investments, and this is what we really got to do our homework and research, because a lot of these countries require you to have a substantial amount of money to verify, to prove that they won't have to take care of you if you come to their country. And I'm saying, and Carl, I'm saying to myself, if I retire, our retirement money alone would provide us to live like kings or queens in a large part of the world. And
I don't know, Lawrence. A lot of times the grass looks greener, but I'll tell you what, JB, can you handle that question for Lawrence?
Definitely. I mean, it's definitely something that I'm starting to see. Like, I do have an Afroeconomics member that left and went to Panama, and he loves it. So it is beginning to happen. Like, if it's on my little scale, if I see a brother leaving the country and moving to Panama, then it is definitely going to continue, start to move that way. But as Carl was about to allude to, they don't have the services that we have. So his son goes over to see him, and his son had an emergency on the basketball court in, the country. And he was saying that's the one time he really felt the disconnect because that's not his language. So he was like in one of the most frightening experiences of his life and not in his home country. So it has its good and its bad. And, like, is it even for us in America? Like when my father decided to move to a rural area after retiring, then his health declined. He was accustomed to living in Philadelphia. He had the best financial services. The best medical services. And then he moved to a rural area, and the same relationship with the physicians and the hospitals and the research wasn't there. So I believe that he died prematurely because of that, just because of the immediate health decline. So we have, some things to really think about in our retirement years that not only just month to month, but how do you take care of yourself? And do they have the services that you're really going to need as you age?
Right.
True, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and you got to do your research, Lawrence, if you're thinking of going overseas, because a lot of times the grass looks greener and it's not really.
So true.
But as JB pointed out, some places the dollar goes a little bit further, but then you have to give up something else. You always got to give up something else, even though you'll have more money in the end. But you still, there's some sort of conveniences that you're used to. And I talk to a lot of expats, talk to a lot of people overseas who are listening to us right now. That's what I knew about what's going on in the UK. And in France and Paris, we got listeners there, and Germany, and they tweet me and text me and all the stuff that we talk about. They're going through the same thing there. So you can run, but you can't run away from your problems. JB.
True. It's very true, and I think that especially at that point in your life, we just need to be very careful. And I think, yes, it is for some people the first time where you have like the most money you've ever had in your life, but for a lot of people, it's also the most expensive time of your life. Over $250,000 is spent in people's retirement to cover uncovered healthcare expenses. And that's old numbers. Now, Medicare is even worse, and they're paying even more out of pocket. So I guess if you do,
we're coming up on a break, so we're going to take the break. But I got a question, a tweet question. I'll let you marinate on the question.
Okay.
The tweeter says, JB, where are the best places to diversify our funds in the next 5 years?
Great. Okay.
So I'll let you marinate on that, and I'll let you respond after the short break right here on FM 95.9 and AM 1450 WOL, where information is power.
Thank you, Miss Mason. Good to see your name. Thank you. West East, stop talking about the last days. We ain't going nowhere.
Serve your country and learn in-demand job skills. Are you considering a degree or career in
I've heard of the last days. No.
aviation or more?
I bet you won't know when the last day. You won't know, and I won't know. So that's a good thing about it. They can talk about it, but we won't know. I just wonder if you wake up like, and this is my last day. Oh, thank you, Mr. Jones. Do you think, Ms. Mason, that you will know it's your last day? People go, I'm going to spend my money because you never know. But you never know. You might live to 120. Those annuity companies are expecting people to live to 120 now. 120. Just that your last day might be 120. That's going to take a lot of money for a long time. You think you grown and you young. If you live to 120, goodness. You're not even middle-aged. You're 20. We live to 120. It makes us like teenagers.
WOL, Washington, D.C.
W240DJ Washington, 95.9 WMMJ HD3 Bethesda, WKYS HD3 Washington, WPRS HD3 Waldorf, and worldwide at WOLDCnews.com. The Carl Nelson Show on 1450 and 95.9. Worldwide at WOLDCnews.com.
And thank you for staying with us, folks. A momentarily we speak to Dr. James Taylor. He's on deck, getting ready to swing that bat, talk about Martin King. But let's wrap up with JB. And JB, the tweeter, I'll repeat the tweet again. Tweeter says, JB, where are the best places to diversify our funds in the next 5 years?
The same as always been. With just, you need to be across all of the asset classes. But first thing to check out is your time horizon and your investment risk. So, one of the first things that I do is just investigate what your risk tolerance is. And then you put together your diversification that comes within your risk score. So it allows me not to just pick stuff randomly like we used to do. Now we can actually let technology help us. And you say, this is the amount of volatility that I can stand. So then you might be heavily, if you're very aggressive, the portfolio or diversification for you may be very weighted in equities, in stocks. But then within the area of stocks, you have all these different levels of stocks, technology stocks versus your blue chip company stocks versus your, small technology, large technology. You have all of these different areas in stocks. So I can't just say, oh, you should be in stocks. But I do believe that at every point of your life, it's okay to have some equity exposure. But the best answer to that is it depends. And it really depends specifically on you. And that's why regulators won't let me say, well, you need to be a 60% equity and a 20% bonds and, another in commodities and another, I'm not supposed to do that because I don't know who you are or your risk tolerance. So be very careful taking that type of advice. But diversification across across asset classes is always good to not have all your exposure in one asset class. But I will tell you, the asset classes are the biggest impact on your rate of return. So if you decide to be 90% stocks, if you look at it historically, your return is going to be higher than than a client who wants to be 50% bonds and 50% stocks. So, but that's based on how much risk exposure you're comfortable with, how much volatility you're comfortable with, what your goals are. So if you want to create income, it's going to change how I diversify you from a person who just wants to invest for long-term growth and doesn't need income for 20 years. So it depends, but it's a great question.
Thank you, JB. JB, how can folks reach you?
Reach me at jbbryan.com, afroeconomics.com, or call me at 1-844-JBBRYAN, JB Bryan. And so 1-844-522-7926. Please take advantage of the free membership that I have. And it allows you to fully participate in Afroeconomics for 30 days. So take advantage of the free membership and check it out. Every Wednesday, I have free workshops, not just these promo stuff. We do workshops after call show at 8 p.m. on Wednesdays, and Fridays. We have our members only meetings and a business network meeting every Friday at noon. So if you want to be an entrepreneur like me, this gives you an opportunity to work directly with me. It's not a video series. It is directly with me every Friday. I work with entrepreneurs. Take advantage of this stuff. When I was starting my business, I didn't have anybody to talk to. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Gotcha, JB. We'll
All
talk to you
right.
next time. Thank you.
Thank
All
you. Have a good
JB
one.
Bryan.
All right.
And stay off that bike for a while, JB.
That's right. I will get right on. Thank you.
Right. That's
Thank
JB Bryan.
you.
People say
Bye.
she's a biker chick and she's got tats. No, she doesn't have any tats, but she's a biker chick.
No tats.
Thank you, JB.
Thank you. Have a wonderful one.
800-450-7876. Black politics expert Dr. James Taylor here. Dr. Taylor, welcome back to WOL Radio.
It's great to be back on the call. Listen, so Carl.
Yeah, Dr. Taylor, this 54 years ago, Dr. King was assassinated. Do you remember where you were when you heard?
Stay positive.